ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and all those who dare to dream, I stand before you today to talk about a force that many overlook. A force that is not loud, not dramatic, but deeply transformative. It is a force that quietly shapes lives, builds legacies, and makes the impossible possible. This force is the power of consistency. We live in a world that constantly celebrates quick success, instant results, and overnight transformations. We are told that greatness is something that happens suddenly, that the heroes of our time are those who leap from obscurity to prominence in the blink of an eye. But the truth is far different. Real success is not born from one grand act, one moment of brilliance. No, real success is born from the daily, often unnoticed, consistent efforts that build upon one another, day after day, year after year. Too often we look at our goals, our dreams, and feel overwhelmed by the enormity of what lies ahead. We see the mountain and wonder how we'll ever make it to the top. But success is not built on one giant leap, it is built on one small step at a time. The small efforts, when repeated, accumulate. Each seemingly insignificant action you take, each little decision you make to move forward, adds up. One small action today, another tomorrow, and before you know it, you've created a path that leads you to where you want to go. It is easy to dismiss the small things, writing a paragraph when you need a book, taking one step when you want to run a marathon. But these small actions, when done consistently, compound and multiply. They lead to bigger results than we could ever imagine. Small, deliberate efforts create the foundation for big, lasting change. It's not about how hard you push yourself in short bursts of energy. It's about showing up day after day, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether you see immediate results. Consistency trumps intensity. Consistency builds momentum. It's the habit of daily effort that gradually transforms you into someone capable of achieving great things. When we focus on consistency, we allow ourselves to make progress even when we don't feel like it, even when it seems like nothing is changing. But the secret is that something is changing, it's you. The real transformation is happening within. You're becoming someone who doesn't give up. Someone who doesn't quit when the road gets tough. I want you to think about this for a moment. If you put just $1 in the bank every day, at the end of a year, you would have $365. That's not a lot of money. But imagine if you added $5, $10, or $20 every day. What would that look like in a year? The power of compounding is the same with effort. Small actions repeated over time compound, leading to extraordinary results. What seems insignificant in the short term becomes monumental in the long run. This is the law of the compound effect. And this principle is true not just in finance, but in every area of life, personal growth, relationships, career, and more. When you commit to consistent action, you don't just achieve results, you master the process. Mastery comes not from occasional bursts of effort, but from the repetition of actions, from staying faithful to the task. The more you repeat, the more you refine, and the more skilled you become. It's in the doing, the practicing, the striving that mastery is developed. Patience is often misunderstood. It's not just about waiting, it's about persevering with intent. Patience in the journey means trusting that your efforts are leading somewhere, even when you can't see the destination. Trust that every small effort is adding value to your life. In time, the results will come. Success is a process. It's about enduring through the difficult moments, staying the course even when the rewards aren't immediate. Patience is the companion of consistency, and together they ensure that your efforts will bear fruit in due time. The most powerful thing about consistency is that it requires faith. Faith that your small efforts today will eventually lead to something greater tomorrow. We often don't see the impact of our actions right away. But that's where faith comes in. You must believe in what you cannot yet see. Even when the results seem distant, when progress seems slow, consistency tells you to keep going. Trust that the seeds you are planting will one day grow into something powerful. I won't stand here and tell you that the path to success is easy. Challenges will come. You will face setbacks, obstacles, and times when it seems like you're not moving forward at all. But consistent effort is the key to overcoming these challenges. When you stay faithful to your purpose, even in the face of adversity, you build resilience. You develop the strength to keep pushing forward. Every challenge you overcome becomes a stepping stone toward your ultimate success. In this world full of distractions, focus is more important than ever. Consistency requires you to block out the noise and stay focused on your goal. There will always be temptations to give up, to look for shortcuts, or to take the easier path. But focus keeps you on track. It helps you avoid the distractions and remain committed to your purpose. I want to remind you that consistency doesn't just change your life. It has the power to change the world. It's the steady, consistent efforts of countless individuals that shape history. It's the quiet, unwavering commitment to a cause, a vision, or a dream that creates lasting impact. Think about the great people of history, the ones whose legacies remain long after their time. They didn't achieve greatness overnight. They achieved it through consistent, dedicated effort over years, even decades. And so can you. In closing, remember that small efforts, when done consistently, lead to big results. Do not be discouraged by the size of the task before you. Focus on the next small step and trust that your consistent efforts will compound over time into something extraordinary. Success is often viewed through the lens of dramatic breakthroughs or momentous achievements. We tend to idolize the grand gestures, the one-time event, the major leap forward that promise instant results and visible transformation. But the truth is that real success is often the result of something much quieter and more persistent, small, steady efforts compounded over time. The power of small efforts may not always be immediately visible, but it is in these incremental steps, these repeated actions, that true progress is made. Consider this success is not always about making huge sweeping changes, but rather about building a foundation through consistent, everyday actions. Think of the way a sculptor shapes a statue. Every chisel stroke, though small and seemingly insignificant in the moment, brings the piece closer to the artist's vision. It's the same with your life. Every action you take, no matter how small, contributes to your larger goals. Sometimes we fail to recognize this because we are too focused on the end result, on the final picture, but the journey, the series of small decisions and actions is what actually creates that picture. When you make the commitment to put in small efforts consistently, you give yourself the opportunity to build momentum. It's easy to be discouraged when you see little progress day by day, but you must remember that over time, these small actions accumulate. It's not the intensity of the effort that leads to success, it's the consistency. It's the daily habits, the small decisions made in alignment with your values and goals that eventually propel you toward your desired destination. Small efforts also teach you valuable lessons about patience. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, it's difficult to appreciate the quiet, steady progress of daily commitment. But success is rarely an overnight phenomenon. It requires time, persistence, and the ability to keep going when the results aren't immediately visible. Often the impact of small efforts is unseen in the early stages. But every time you choose to push forward, even when it feels insignificant, you are building the character and resilience necessary to achieve your long-term vision. The real power of small efforts lies in their ability to compound over time. Just as the smallest of deposits can add up to a large sum in a bank account, small actions can lead to significant outcomes. This compounding effect is one of the most profound laws of success. What seems like a minimal contribution today, a single step, a brief moment of effort, adds up over weeks, months, and years. This principle is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. But we often underestimate the power of small efforts because they don't feel dramatic. The truth is, consistency doesn't require grand gestures or monumental effort. It simply requires that you show up every day. It is the repetition of small actions that leads to mastery. When you repeat an effort regularly, it becomes ingrained in your routine, which in turn makes it easier to sustain. The more you practice, the more you learn, the more you improve, and the more natural the effort becomes. Before long, what once felt difficult becomes second nature. Small efforts also allow you to improve along the way. Each step you take, no matter how small, provides feedback. You get a sense of what works and what doesn't. And this feedback becomes the fuel that drives you forward. It's through these small, consistent actions that you discover your strengths, refine your skills, and eliminate mistakes. And while results may not come immediately, your ability to succeed improves with each step you take. Another important aspect of small efforts is their ability to help you stay on course. It's easy to lose track of your dreams when the road ahead seems daunting or when obstacles arise. But by committing to the process, no matter how small the steps, you create a rhythm that can sustain you through the difficult times. Even when you feel tired or discouraged, the habit of taking small, meaningful actions keeps you moving forward, one step at a time. It's like planting a seed and nurturing it every day with small, consistent efforts. Though you may not see the tree grow overnight, you trust that it will eventually rise if you remain patient and faithful. In a world that demands immediate results, consistency is your most powerful tool. It gives you the strength to push through the hard times, the discipline to stay committed to your goals, and the courage to keep going when success feels far away. The beauty of small efforts is that they allow you to build something lasting. They create a solid foundation for your future, even when the results aren't immediately obvious. And it's this consistency, this unwavering commitment to keep showing up, that will ultimately create lasting transformation in your life. So don't despise the small beginnings. Don't be discouraged by the small efforts that seem to go unnoticed. They are the very actions that will eventually lead to greatness. Every small effort you make today is a building block for your tomorrow. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. The power of small efforts, when combined with patience, persistence, and faith, can create results that exceed your wildest expectations. In the pursuit of any meaningful goal, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success comes from intense bursts of effort. We're conditioned to believe that greatness is forged in moments of extraordinary focus and power, when we push ourselves to the limit, giving everything we have in a single explosive action. While there is certainly a time and place for such intensity, the reality is that it's consistency, not intensity, that creates lasting change and real achievement. Consistency is the quiet force that drives you forward day in and then day out, even when the results are not immediately visible. Intensity can be inspiring. It's exciting to throw yourself into something with passion and energy, and often those bursts of focus yield quick, short-term results. But intensity, by its very nature, is unsustainable. It can't be maintained over long periods without burning you out or leading to exhaustion. There's only so much intensity a person can give before they reach a breaking point. And once that burst of energy fades, it's easy to fall back into complacency or apathy, making it difficult to maintain forward momentum. Consistency, on the other hand, doesn't require you to give everything you have all at once. It doesn't demand you exhaust your mental and physical resources in a short amount of time. Instead, consistency is about showing up each day and putting in the work, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether the results are immediately apparent. It's about developing the habits that, over time, build momentum and create lasting change. Consistency is the steady rhythm of progress, the commitment to keep going even when the road feels long or when the rewards seem far off. It's the understanding that, over time, small, steady efforts will accumulate and lead to something far greater than any single moment of intensity could. The beauty of consistency is that it gives you room to grow, adapt, and improve at your own pace. Intensity, by contrast, often forces you to focus only on the outcome, disregarding the process that's needed to sustain long-term success. When you operate with consistency, you're more likely to learn from each step you take, making adjustments and improvements along the way. There is no pressure to reach perfection right away. Instead, the emphasis is placed on progress, on the continual effort to get better every day. Consistency also allows you to build resilience. Intense efforts can make you feel as though you've accomplished something significant, but they can also leave you vulnerable to setbacks. Once you've pushed yourself to the limit, it can be difficult to bounce back from challenges. In contrast, when you commit to consistent effort, even on the days when you don't feel like it, you build mental and emotional endurance. You learn to navigate obstacles, adapt to difficulties, and keep moving forward no matter how many setbacks you face. It's through consistency that you develop the strength to persevere through tough times. The key to understanding why consistency trumps intensity lies in the simple truth that sustainable success is not about exerting maximum effort once in a while, but about creating habits that compound over time. Just as a car doesn't need to be driven at full speed to reach its destination, it only needs to keep moving forward at a steady pace. Your journey towards success doesn't require all-out effort every moment. It only requires that you keep moving, even if it's just a small step each day. When you commit to consistency, you also remove the need for perfection. Intensity often comes with the expectation that everything must be done at the highest level or not at all. This all or nothing mentality can set you up for failure because it makes you believe that any slip up, any deviation from your plan is unacceptable. But consistency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Even if you fall off track, the important thing is that you get back up, dust yourself off, and continue with the same regularity and commitment as before. Over time, these small daily efforts accumulate into something powerful. With consistency, you realize that every step counts, and it's not the grand successes that matter most, but the ongoing process of showing up and doing the work, day after day. Another powerful aspect of consistency is that it builds trust both with yourself and with others. When you are consistent, people know they can rely on you. Your actions become predictable, and your commitment to the goal becomes undeniable. In relationships, in business, and in personal development, consistency is the cornerstone of trust. It's the quiet, unglamorous work that ensures you're able to deliver on promises, make progress, and stay true to your word, no matter what challenges arise. When you establish consistency, you create a foundation of reliability and credibility that no burst of intensity can ever match. Over time, consistency becomes a force of its own. It builds its own momentum. It starts small, but as you continue, it gains strength. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes to take that next step. The small actions you perform on a daily basis compound, and what once felt like an effort becomes second nature. Soon, what was once difficult and exhausting becomes part of your routine, no longer requiring intense focus or energy to maintain. This is where true progress lies, not in a sudden surge of effort, but in the quiet accumulation of small, persistent actions. Intensity may get you started, but it is consistency that will get you to the finish line. It's the ongoing, unrelenting commitment to your goal that over time yields the greatest results. And the most powerful part of it all is that you don't have to be extraordinary to be successful. You simply have to be steady. You don't need to make a grand gesture every time you act. You just need to keep moving forward. Keep doing the work, keep showing up, and before long, you'll see that the small efforts you've put in over time have created something far greater than any burst of intensity could have ever accomplished. The compound effect is a principle that governs almost every area of our lives, from personal development to financial success, health, and relationships. It works on a simple yet profound idea that small, seemingly insignificant actions, when repeated consistently over time, lead to exponential results. At first glance, these actions may seem trivial, almost inconsequential, but their cumulative power is what creates lasting change and success. This idea isn't new. In fact, it's been around for centuries, but it's often overlooked because the results are not immediately visible. The compound effect teaches us that progress isn't always linear. It doesn't happen in a straight line, where each action brings a visible, measurable result. Instead, it happens in the background, quietly building momentum, often invisible to the naked eye, until one day the effect of all those small efforts is undeniable. It's easy to become discouraged when we don't see immediate results. How many of us have started something, a new workout routine, a diet, a personal project, and after a week or two of hard work, we felt disappointed because the change was barely noticeable? That's the trap. We expect results too quickly, and when we don't see them, we're tempted to give up. But this is where the compound effect shows its true power. The work you're putting in today, even if it seems small and insignificant, is not wasted. Every effort, no matter how minor, is building the foundation for something much bigger. Imagine the simple act of saving money. If you put aside just $5 every day in a year, you'll have saved $1,825. If you invested that money wisely, earning a modest return, that small daily investment could grow exponentially. The principle is the same in every area of life. When you make small positive decisions daily, over time, they add up in ways that you may not even realize until you look back months or years later. The beauty of the compound effect is that it's working in both positive and negative directions. The same principle that can lead to extraordinary success can also work against you if you're not careful. Every bad habit, every small indulgence, every moment of procrastination compounds in the same way. The small, seemingly harmless choices we make each day, such as skipping a workout or spending money we don't have, can have a cumulative effect as well. The result may not be immediate, but over time, those small negative choices can lead to outcomes that are just as dramatic, but in the wrong direction. What makes the compound effect so powerful is that it doesn't require you to make monumental changes to your life. You don't have to suddenly overhaul everything you do or make drastic sacrifices. Instead, you simply need to make better decisions, small ones that, when compounded over time, lead to bigger results. For example, if you want to get healthier, start by drinking an extra glass of water each day. It's a small change, but it's something you can do consistently. If you keep it up, day after day, you'll begin to notice improvements in your energy levels, skin, and overall well-being. Over time, those small choices will add up and create a healthier, more vibrant version of yourself. In the realm of personal growth, the compound effect is about those small, daily actions that make you better each day, even if you can't see the improvement in the moment. It could be reading a few pages of a book every morning, writing a short journal entry at the end of each day, or taking a few moments to reflect on your goals. These actions may feel insignificant at the time, but over a long period, they contribute to a greater understanding of yourself, your goals, and the life you want to create. And it's important to note that the compound effect is not just about achieving results, it's also about building momentum. The real secret to success with the compound effect is how, once you start, you begin to generate a kind of positive feedback loop. Each small step forward gives you more confidence, more motivation, and more clarity, which in turn fuels your desire to keep moving forward. The more you do, the easier it becomes to continue, and eventually you reach a point where the momentum of your efforts carries you forward without you even having to push. But this process doesn't always happen in a straight line. You won't always see progress every single day. Sometimes you'll feel stuck, or you'll question whether what you're doing is making any difference at all. But if you trust the process, keep making those small decisions, and have patience, the cumulative effect will become undeniable. And when you look back, you realize that the consistent small choices you made each day have led to something much bigger than you could have ever imagined. It's the power of persistence, of trusting that even the smallest action can eventually lead to monumental results. It's important to remember that the compound effect works best when you're clear on your long-term vision. When you know what you want to achieve, the small, daily actions become easier to maintain. They align with your greater purpose and vision, and that vision gives you the motivation to keep going, even when it feels like progress is slow. Without a clear vision, it's easy to get distracted, to abandon small habits that don't seem to be giving you immediate results. But with a strong vision, the small, positive actions you take each day can lead to powerful changes in your life. In the long run, the compound effect teaches us that success is not about perfection or immediate results. It's about making small, smart choices consistently and allowing those choices to build upon one another over time. The key is not to focus on the immediate outcomes, but to trust the process and to keep taking small steps toward your goals. Every time you choose to do something positive, you're contributing to a greater outcome, even if you can't see it yet. Over time, those small efforts will add up, and before you know it, you'll have created something powerful, something that might have once seemed impossible simply by choosing to be consistent in your actions, day after day. The law of process teaches us that success is not a sudden event or a one-time achievement, but a journey that unfolds gradually over time. It's easy to look at successful people and think that their achievements were the result of a single breakthrough or a moment of inspiration. We see that success as something immediate, something that happened quickly, and we often fail to recognize the years of preparation, learning, and effort that led up to that moment. But the reality is that success is a process, a series of steps, each one building upon the last, and leading to a culmination that might seem like it happened all at once, but in fact was years in the making. When we embark on any significant goal or dream, we tend to want results fast. We want to see instant progress, to feel like our efforts are immediately paying off. But real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build the habits, skills, and mindset required for success. The law of process is a reminder that the results we desire are not a product of one moment of action, but rather of the consistent, incremental steps we take over a long period of time. This law speaks to the value of patience. Patience is not just about waiting for something to happen, it's about enduring through the slow, sometimes tedious work of development. The process of growth requires faith in the unseen and trust in the fact that every small step is adding up, even when it doesn't seem like much. Often it's only when we look back after a period of time that we can see how far we've come, how much we've learned, and how much progress we've made. But when we're in the thick of the journey, the process can feel slow and uncertain. It's easy to get discouraged or frustrated, especially when results aren't immediately visible. Because success is like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect a fully grown tree tomorrow. You nurture it over time, watering it, giving it sunlight, tending to it regularly. At first, the progress is barely noticeable. But as you continue to care for the tree, it slowly starts to grow. Eventually, with enough time, effort, and attention, the tree becomes strong, tall, and fruitful. But if you were to stop watering it because you didn't see immediate results, you'd never give it the time it needs to grow. Success works in the same way. You can't expect to see drastic changes immediately. You have to trust the process and be willing to do the work, even when the results are not visible yet. The law of process also reminds us that growth is cumulative. Every step you take, no matter how small, adds up. Whether you're learning a new skill, building a business, or working on a personal goal, the key is to keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. When you put in the work every day, over time, the cumulative effect of your efforts begins to show. At first, it might feel like you're moving at a snail's pace, but consistency in the process allows you to build momentum. And eventually, that momentum will carry you further than you could have ever imagined. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of process is that it forces us to focus on the journey rather than the destination. So often we get fixated on the end result, the finished product, the completed project, the goal achieved, and we forget that success is about more than just reaching the destination. It's about what you learn on the way. The experiences you gain, the lessons you learn, the mistakes you make, and the obstacles you overcome, they all shape who you become in the process. These are the true rewards of the journey. The process, with all its ups and downs, is where your character is forged and where you gain the skills and wisdom necessary to succeed in the long run. The law of process teaches us that true mastery comes through repetition and continuous improvement. Success doesn't happen because you do something extraordinary once. It happens because you do something ordinary consistently. Whether it's practicing a sport, mastering a craft, or building a relationship, the more you do something, the more you improve. Success is the result of continually pushing yourself to be better, to refine your skills, and to stay committed to the process, no matter how long it takes. This understanding also challenges the culture of instant gratification that we live in today. We are constantly bombarded with messages that promise quick fixes, shortcuts, and immediate results. But the truth is that most meaningful success cannot be rushed. It takes time. It requires a long-term commitment to learning, growing, and developing your abilities. And the more you embrace the process, the more you appreciate that growth is an ongoing, lifelong journey. It's not about reaching a destination and then stopping. The law of process shows us that success is about evolving, refining, and improving over the course of your entire life. Passions in the process also builds resilience. As you commit to the long-term effort required to succeed, you develop the emotional and mental fortitude to handle setbacks. You learn to persevere even when things get tough, when progress seems slow, or when the road ahead feels uncertain. Success isn't just about reaching the goal, it's about becoming the person capable of achieving that goal. The challenges you face along the way teach you the resilience you need to handle the next challenge and the one after that.